Hi, I'm Dr. Jenn from Root to Rise Physical Therapy and Pelvic Health. We're going to go through a yoga flow sequence today that is going to be geared towards really optimizing your pelvic floor function and pelvic health. We're going to be going through some mobilization and also some strengthening of the deep hips and the pelvic floor. And you'll notice the whole entire time I will not cue you to voluntarily activate your pelvic floor or do a Kegel. So what you'll need for the sequence is you'll need a block, a yoga block, and you might want a foamy block if you have one, because it's a little softer in some of the things that we're going to need it for. And then a bolster or a pillow or a folded blanket would also be great. So we'll get started in a comfortable seat. And if you sit up onto your prop, it's nice because it'll allow your pelvis to be in a nice neutral and you'll have some space for your low back. And you might start to close your eyes. Have a soft, subtle gaze, either with the eyelids open or the eyelids closed. And as you begin your practice, start to feel your body here in this shape and on the earth. Notice what it feels like to let your body really be supported by the ground below you. Feel your sit bones heavy into your prop and your legs rooting down to the earth. Picture your pelvis, the bowl of your pelvis, holding the parts of your body that are above the pelvis, supporting you all the way from the base of the spine and the abdomen, all the way up around the rib cage, across the heart, the back of the heart, the back of the neck, and then all the way to the crown of your head. And take a few moments to feel your body as the crown lifts and the ribs lift out of the pelvis. And feel that lengthening on the inhale breath. And allow yourself to feel extra supported on the exhale breath. And then place a hand on your heart space, a hand on your abdomen, and we'll take a few breaths. We'll start by filling up on that inhale. See if you can fill your hands with breath. On your exhale, notice the body moving towards center. And continue just your breath cycle, your breath pace. And perhaps you start to invite the breath into the bottom hand. Breathe in deep and low. Good, letting the breath go. We'll take one more cycle just like that. Good, just take your hands to your side ribs now. So this will feel a little bit more like you're doing a little work with your shoulders, but take your hands to your outer ribs, your side ribs, and take a couple breaths where you feel the breath traveling into the rib cage. So inhaling, feeling the breath traveling into the hands, expanding out to the sides. And then as you exhale, notice the ribs coming towards center, the breath leaving your body, that mobility through the ribs and the diaphragm. Take another inhale. And an exhale. Good. All right, let's release the hands. Take your arms up overhead, big full body stretch. Take the left hand to the right wrist, reach up on your inhale from your seat, and exhale, side bend over to your left side. Open your heart. And take another full breath in and full breath out. And we'll slowly rise all the way back to center and then switch hands. Reach up, ribs out of pelvis. Exhale, side bend. Stay nice and grounded through both sit bones. Swallow a few times, relax your jaw. Lengthen, inhale, expand. Exhale, settle in. Good, one more time, full breath in. And full breath out. All right, come all the way back up to center. We'll take the hands, exhale, bring them to heart. From here, we're gonna just roll the shoulders a couple times, up, back, up and back. And then you can start to come off your prop and you can move your bolster out of the way and come into your hands and knees. So we'll come into our tabletop position. We'll spread the fingers wide, letting the elbows be soft, and let the tops of the feet press into the floor. We'll take a few moments. Just inhale, lift your heart. And exhale, round the back body, shining the back of the heart towards the ceiling. On the inhale, spreading the sit bones, lifting the tailbone up, heart forward. Exhale, round. Good. Okay, we'll come to center. Take your knees slightly wider than hips. We'll take some hip circles, getting into those hips. We'll inhale and we'll send the hips towards the right and then the left. And then as you exhale, we'll roll forward towards the left shoulder and then the right shoulder. Inhaling and exhaling. As we inhale, you can visualize filling that space in your hips and pelvis, expanding, opening, lengthening. Exhale, creating a little support as you shift forward. One more time, inhale. And exhale. You can move at your own pace. We'll pause at the center and then we'll just go the other way. So inhaling to the left this time. And then to the right. Exhaling as you come forward, right shoulder, left shoulder. Letting this be fluid-like, feeling what it feels like to move into the hip joints from this space with your breath, with this rhythm. We'll just take another round. Good. And then from here, we'll pause. We're just gonna take the big toes together, and then on an inhale breath, send your hips back. We'll take child's pose. Letting the forehead rest on the earth. Letting the hips get heavy. And then let the elbows bend, walking them towards one another. Bring the palms to the back of your head. From here, we'll just rest for about 5 breaths, breathing all the way around the rib cage, filling up and letting go. Notice what it feels like to feel that compression into the fronts of the thigh bones and the hip joints. That lengthening along the back body by the glutes, the low back. Good. 2 more full rounds of breath. One more full breath in. And as you exhale, release your hands, palms up just for a moment, and then turn the palms down and pull yourself forward. We're going to take a moment and take the right leg back in space. Hug the left hip inward towards midline, and on your exhale breath, take your right knee to your right elbow. Pause, and then step the right foot to the right hand. From here, we'll keep the hands down onto the floor on the inside of your right foot. We're gonna do a little pose here I call flowy lizard, but really similarly, where I'll take some hip circles just with the right foot forward. And you can go both directions. Just again, exploring the mobility around the hips and the pelvis, the backs of the legs, and then inhaling forward, exhaling back. You can always take your hands to a block if that feels more spacious for you. And then from here, when you're ready, we'll place the left hand to the floor and tuck the back toes under. Right hand to your right thigh, and then press into the floor as you exhale. Rotate your heart to the right. Roll the left shoulder down and away from your ear, and then your right arm will reach high. Stay here, exhale, lift your back knee up off the earth and press firm into your right heel. Draw your shoulder blades towards one another. Pull your right sit bone in and back, activating the glutes. Stay for another round of breath, really rotating your heart around your spinal column. Good, and then as you exhale, we'll slowly lower the back knee to the floor once again, untucking the toes, and then send your hips back in space. You can stay on your fingertips or come to blocks. We'll just take a half split here. See if you can think about sending the right sit bone back and maybe the right toes stay on the floor for this variation. And then for just a few breaths, see if you can try to wag your tail. So sending the sit bones left and right, moving the pelvis on the femur, just getting a little mobility, a little fluidity into those attachments. Exploring sensation. Good, one more round. And then eventually we'll make our way right back to our tabletop. You can let your right knee come back underneath your right hip. And then we'll take the other side. So we'll take the left leg back in space, just hovering, just creating a little bit of stability here. Exhale, left knee to left elbow. And then we'll step the left foot to the left hand. Good, from here, we're gonna take our flowy lizard. So we're gonna just start to bend into the front knee, come out of the front knee, and then we'll take those circles, inhaling, sending the hips back and circling through, exploring what it feels like on this side compared to the other side. And just take a few more rounds. And eventually we'll pause at center. Stack your left knee over your left ankle and the right hand will be on the floor or a block. Tuck your back toes under, and then as you press your right shoulder down and away, lift your left arm high for our twisted low lunge. We'll stay here or exhale, lift your back knee off the floor. And then see if you can pull this left hip in, down, and back as you press into your front heel. Drawing your legs slightly towards one another, activating your foundation, and then expanding across the heart space. Draw the shoulder blades back, gaze up or down, whatever feels most spacious in your neck, and with your breath. Good, lift your back heel slightly more, one more full breath in. And as you exhale, bring your hands down, framing your front foot, softly land your right knee, untuck your toes. Inhale, send your hips back in space, just like the other side, maybe fingertips, maybe two blocks. We send the heart forward and keep the toes down so that you can really think about this left sit bone moving back. We feel the upper attachment of the hamstrings, or at least we bring a little awareness there. And then you might wag your tail here. Just getting a little fascial stretch, a little sensation. Maybe just awareness of letting go, trying not to clench. These quiet moments help tune us into what we need in the moment. One more full round of breath here. And then on your out breath, walk your hands forward, bend into your left knee, come back to your tabletop. We'll keep the tops of the feet firm onto the floor. We'll come into mounting heart or puppy. You can let your forearms land, and one option is to take your yoga block and place it right underneath your forehead here. Letting your hips be over your knees, softening here into this shape, feeling into your breath. I like to think about breathing all the way in between the sit bones. Especially in this shape, there's some feedback or some awareness that I am able to connect to here. You might as well. And the pelvic floor upside down, the low back decompressed. And then if this doesn't feel like enough sensation, or you're looking to get a little more length in your shoulders, you're welcome to walk your hands even more forward, lengthening your arms, and then letting your forehead land on the earth. Wherever you are, make sure that you're in a place where you can find ease, that you can find your breath and the softness of this moment. Good, we'll stay for 2 more full rounds. Send your breath all the way around your ribs. As you exhale, let your body sink more towards the support of the earth below. Another round, inhale. And another round, exhale. Now slowly on your inhale, lift your gaze, bring your hands underneath your shoulders. And then we'll just take one cat-cow, inhale, lifting the heart, and exhale round. And then from here, we're going to grab the block. You might want to watch me for the first one or two of these, but we're going to take the block and we'll place it underneath the left knee. So your left knee is going to come up onto the block. Your fingertips will be still on the floor, your palms, and then your right knee is just going to be hanging in space. So from here, we'll start to find our tabletop. Although the right knee is not supported, we're still looking to be in alignment. I'm going to back up here just a little bit so you can see me. And then on our inhale breath, we're going to send the right knee towards the earth, letting the pelvis rotate a little to the left, letting this left hip kind of stretch into the back part of the hip, or the hip joint. And then on an exhale, we'll lift that right knee way up off the earth, beyond the height of the left knee. And then on the inhale, the right knee is going to slowly lower. The slowness is the important part here, so we can build that control. And then exhale, lift up, up, up. The pelvis starts to face the right a little bit. And then inhale with control, lowering the right knee down. You want to try to keep that left hip from really swaying out to the left. So hug the left hip in towards midline. And then lift your knee, exhale. And then inhale, slowly lower. You'll feel your arms most likely working your abs, but just work on this control. We'll do one more time. Exhale, really blow out. You can feel that breath. And inhale, lower, down. Good, and then you can just set the right knee onto the earth, take the block, just move it out of the way for a moment. We're gonna stand tall on the knees. You can tuck your back toes under if you'd like, or leave them flat. Draw the tailbone heavy, and then take your hands to your hips. From here, roll your shoulders back, and maybe your hands walk back at your low back, placing your palms onto the back of your pelvis. Roll your shoulders up, back, and slightly down. And then as you engage your core muscles, the hips press forward, the heart looks up. Listen to your body, maybe you stay gazing forward, depending on how spacious your neck feels here. But find your breath and stay. Good, one more time. And then slowly with control, bring your shoulders back up over your hips. And then we're gonna take the block to the other side. So the block will now go underneath the right knee. And we'll come back to our hands and knees. The left knee will be hovering in space. And then you're gonna gaze down. One thing that's really tricky is we're focusing on this, and you might have seen me do this too, is easy to just duck the head forward or kind of kink the head to the side. Think of the back of the head as lifting, and the spine is all in one line basically. So you have your curvature, but you're nice and neutral. Now from here, inhale and let the left knee lower towards the earth. And then exhale, lift up beyond the height of the block that your right knee is on. And then inhale, let the left knee lower. You'll probably find one side is a little clunkier than the other. And exhale, lift up. One or two more times. Inhale, lower. This side is harder for me. Exhale. Last time, inhale. And exhale. Good, and then slow motion, lower the left knee to the floor. And then you can take the block out and we'll just come to sit on the ankles, letting the palms face up, perhaps closing the eyes or having that soft, subtle gaze, just releasing the wrists, letting the breath come back into our awareness in a little more of a calm place. Okay, so now we'll bring our hands back to the floor. We'll tuck the toes under, taking a nice big breath in, and then exhale, lift your knees a little bit off the mat. Keep the lower belly engaged. Stay here for another inhale. And then on your exhale, lift your hips up for downward facing dog. Once you arrive in down dog, spread your fingers really wide. Take up all that space. Same with your toes. Soften your elbows and wrap your biceps in, and then press forward and down into the earth with your hands, using your shoulders. As the knees are soft, notice you can keep that length in the spine, the sit bones lift. And then perhaps you bend one knee And straighten the other. And eventually we'll land at center. And then on an inhale, lift the heels. As you exhale, send your heels to the right and the toes to the left, and just press more firm into the hands. And then inhale, lift the heels again. And then exhale, heels to the left, toes to the right. Press the floor away. Good, and then lastly, inhale, lift your heels and then walk your toes towards one another. On your inhale, weight through the left leg and then lift your right leg high. Feel your stability through your hands and your left leg. Hug your left hip up and back. Now from here, we'll bend the right knee and then slowly inhale and open up your right knee high, coming into an open three-legged dog. Now take another breath here. Good. And then on your next inhale breath, we're gonna lower the right knee and lower the right knee almost to tap your left knee. And then this time, exhale, open your right knee high. And then inhale slowly with control, draw your right knee towards your left knee. Letting the pelvis rotate 2 more times. Exhale, lift and open. Inhale, slowly lower. Letting the right hip drop below the left hip. Last time, blow out. And slowly lower. Now I did this with my knee bent. I'm just going to show you a variation you can do with your legs straight. Open. Inhale. Lower. And then exhale, open. Inhale, lower. Okay, and then slowly come back into your child's pose. You can stay in down dog if you prefer. We'll take a few breaths, maybe turn the palms up. All right, from here we'll come back. We're gonna do the other side. So we'll take the toes, we'll tuck them under once again. We'll lift the knees, exhale. Inhale here, and then exhale, lift the hips up and back. We'll keep it simple today as far as the sequence. So we'll keep the right foot landed, lift the left foot high, coming into your three-legged dog, and then bend your left knee. Good. Take an inhale here, and then exhale, open your left knee up over, opening your dog. And then on your inhale, keeping the right hip hugging in towards midline, lower your left knee down. Let the left hip lower beyond the right. Tap your knee. And then exhale, open up. Good. And then inhale, lower, down. Exhale. And inhale. And then the variation, which is more challenging, letting the left leg lift. And then opening up, three-legged dog with a straight leg. And then closing, inhale. Letting that right hip lift up and back. And then exhale, rotating the hip, the pelvis. Left hip lifts higher than right. Inhale, lowering it down. You can, at least I can really feel that in my right hip and rotators, which is the point. One more time. Exhale, open. And inhale, close. All right, let's come back down one more time for a rest on the wrists. Maybe you wrap your arms around your heels. Rock a little side to side. Allowing yourself to feel back into release. Balancing that work with ease. Take another full round of breath. And then we'll release the hands. We'll slowly walk the hands forward. We'll tuck the toes under, lift back up for your downward facing dog. Bend your knees a lot, look forward, and then step your way to the top of your mat. I'll lose my head there. On an inhale, take a halfway lift. As you exhale, let it go. Inhale, sweep all the way up. And exhale, hands to heart. While standing here in your mountain pose, place one hand on heart, one hand on abdomen. Softening into the knees and feeling for the breath here. You might feel your heartbeat. See if you can feel the rhythm of your breath, feeling your feet onto the earth. And from here, we'll inhale, we'll sweep the arms overhead. We'll come into a mini chair pose, slight chair pose. And then slowly bring the weight into the right foot and lift the left foot. We're coming into this little balanced squat shape here on one leg. And then on your next out breath, step your left foot back for your crescent lunge. We're gonna grab the yoga block. So grab your yoga block and soften your back knee slightly. Stack your pelvis over your ribs the best you can. So just finding a nice alignment instead of having the ribs really flared out. Just pitch forward a little. That should help you stack. Good. And from here, press your hands into the block. You can keep the block close to the body or you can bring it out in front of you. Press firm into the right heel and pull your right sit bone back. Good. Now inhale and send your hands and the block towards the right hip, maybe beyond it a little. Then stay into your lunge and exhale, open up. And then inhale, we'll lower the block. Send the heart towards the right. The upper back is rotating. Press firm into the floor and lift. Two more. Inhale, hand to the right hip. And then exhale, lift. It's going to be a little wobbly. One more time. Inhale. And exhale. Okay, take your block and your hands into heart center and turn and face the long left side of the mat. We're gonna stand with the toes facing slightly out and heels in, and then slowly lowering down into your goddess pose. So from here, allow the pelvis and the ribs to stack and then pitch yourself forward just a little bit so you're not way upright in this shape. We're just gonna have a little pitch forward. Press your hands into the block and then maybe you bring the block out in front of you or maybe you bring the block overhead. We'll inhale and lower the hips towards the earth and go kind of low. And then on your exhale, we're gonna press all the way almost up. So soft knees, reach. And then now on your inhale, the block is gonna come towards your waist. And then as you exhale, we'll press up. Just moving a little bit of blood flow, moving some energy. Inhale, lower. Exhale, lift. This time, inhale, lower, and then turn your toes in and heels out, and then still with those soft knees, we're gonna come all the way down to a forward fold. You can use the block, you can take the block away, however you'd like, but keep the knees soft enough that your sit bones can lift up, and then maybe you wag your tail or bend into one knee, straighten into the other. Let your head and your jaw release. And then slowly we'll make our way back towards center. And as you inhale, lift to a halfway. You might move your block over to the side. And then hands to outer hips. Exhale, rise all the way up and then turn back into your crescent lunge. So it'll take a moment to kind of pivot on your back foot. Land back into your crescent lunge. Take a nice big breath in, and then exhale, step forward, left foot will meet right foot. Inhale, sweep your arms all the way up overhead. And exhale, come back into your chair pose. Make sure your block is within reach. And then from here, you can even grab it before you go. Press your palms firm into the block, either arms reaching forward or keeping them at your waistline. Stack the ribs over the pelvis, and then slowly start to lift your right heel as you hug the left hip inwards towards midline. Now from here, lift your whole right foot up off the floor, and on your exhale breath, step your right foot back for your crescent lunge. Soften deeply, not deeply, soften subtly a little bit into your back knee. Good. And then from here, we're going to do the same rotation in our lunge on this side. So pulling the left sit bone in and back and pressing down into the front heel, either arms reaching way out or arms at your side, or in front of you, I should say. somewhere in the middle is fine. On your inhale breath, we'll start to rotate the upper body towards the left hip. And so from here, keep pressing the legs towards one another. Feel that rotation. And then on your exhale breath, we're gonna come up and over to the right. And then on your inhale, we're gonna lower back. And so we're not opening up with the back foot. We're not doing this big pivot on the back foot, but there might be a little movement of the pelvis out of this neutral position, and that's fine. So inhale, that's actually okay and good. And then exhale, we open. Keep pressing into the left heel. Inhale, let the left hip move back. Exhale. Good. Inhale. And exhale. Last time. Inhale. And exhale. Good. And from here, we're just going to turn all the way to face the long right side of the mat. I'm just going to turn around on your knees. Face you once more. So toes out your hands and squeeze into your block. Then inhale and lower down into your hips a decent amount. We'll just do a few rotations here. So on your inhale, we're going to rotate to one side and exhale back to center. Inhale the other direction. Exhale back to center. One more time, inhale and exhale. Inhale, keep pressing into the block and exhale. Take a big breath in, lower, lower, lower. And then exhale, come all the way back up, turn the toes out and the heels in. You can place your block to the side and just come back to your forward fold nice and slow. Good, this time we'll walk the hands to the left and you can start to lift your right ankle, right toes, lift your heart. Maybe you take the right arm and reach it out, getting a little rotation. And then on your exhale breath, we'll lift up and then inhale into the other side. You can use your hands to support you. Inhale. Good. Exhale, come back to center. We'll take the toes more towards the center. Inhale for a halfway lift. Exhale, hands to outer hips and press your way all the way back up. Good. We'll turn the left toes to face forward this time. I turned myself around. Hands to heart. I'm going to move my block. And then we'll exhale and we'll step the right foot to meet the left foot back into our chair pose. Nice big breath in. Good, and then exhale, come all the way back up to standing. All right, it'll be nice to have your block. You might even have two blocks for this next one. You can also do this on your fingertips. So we're gonna place the blocks in front or block in front of you. And then we'll come into our chair pose, Utkatasana. Inhale to lower the hips nice and low. Press your feet apart so that you can feel the outer hip muscles engage. And then on your exhale, forward fold and place your hands on the blocks or fingertips to the earth so that your knees are pretty soft and you're in a kind of a halfway lift position. Good. So from here, we're going to weight into the right foot and lift the left heel. And then start to take the left foot back behind you in space. Now from here, take your right hand and press it firm into the block and then start to hover the left hand up off of the block or the floor. Take your left hand to your left hip and send the crown of your heart forward. Now on an inhale breath, let your left hip drop lower than your right hip. Let your right hip kind of point up and back, but try not to let it sway to the side. Good, now exhale, lift your left hip up to the level of your right, and then maybe open it up towards your half moon shape with your legs. And then one more time like that. Inhale, lower your left hip down. My hand is on my hip, but you certainly could have your arm kind of open and reaching. And then exhale, lift the left hip up, and then we'll come all the way into Ardha Chandrasana. Good. Stay here a couple breaths. And then on your exhale, we'll slowly lower. You can place your hands to the floor, fingertips, or use your blocks. And then just rise all the way back up. We'll place the left heel onto the ground, coming into a short stance, warrior 2 or warrior 1. Send your heart forward and then inhale forward and down for Parsvottanasana. Fingertips to your blocks or to the floor. As you send your right hip towards your left heel. Deciding where to place your hands, and then you can let your head release in your jaw. Press into the outer edge of your back foot. And just a little lift of the heart forward. You can still let your head dangle, but just invite a little space along the spine. Staying here for a few more breaths. And then you can stay here if you choose, or come to a little halfway lift to take right hand to right hip, and then rotate your heart up to the right for revolve Parsvottanasana. Maybe the right arm reaches up. Stay for a few more rounds of breath. On your exhale, we'll let the right hand come back to the floor. Take an inhale, and then on your out breath, step your left foot to meet your right foot, and you can move your block or blocks forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Press into your feet. Inhale, sweep all the way up. Exhale, hands into your heart. Inhale, Utkatasana, lower your hips. Exhale, plant your hands on your blocks or the floor, fingertips. This time, bring awareness to your left foot. Plant it firmly, spreading all of your toes. Lift your right heel. From here, we'll send the right leg back in space. Send your heart forward. And then press firm into the left hand onto the fingertips or the block, and start to hover your right hand from the block and perhaps place it on your right hip. From here, we'll inhale and lower the right hip down, lower than your left hip. Little stretch on that left hip joint capsule. And then on your exhale, we'll open the right hip up, coming into that half moon shape with your legs and with your hips. And then on your inhale breath, we'll rotate the pelvis down, right hip and pelvis lowers more than the left side. And then on your exhale, press into the earth, lift the right hip up. And then one more time. Inhaling and lowering down. And exhale, press, press, press. Pretty wobbly. And then from here, you can stay, or you can reach your arm high for our full Ardha Chandrasana. Your hips will be maybe a little more fatigued than usual when you arrive here. Good, and then slowly we'll take the right hand back to the pelvis, level the pelvis towards the floor, and we'll step the right foot back and just make our way all the way up. We'll let the feet come into a narrow stance, warrior one. So the back foot is on an angle, front foot faces forward and your heart forward. Now from here, send your heart forward over your hip creases, and we'll come into our Parsvottanasana, our pyramid pose. Fingertips to the floor or to blocks. Pressing into the outer edge of the back foot. And then wrapping the left sit bone towards the right heel. And take a few rounds of breath. Breathing into the back of the front leg. And from here, we'll stay, or you can place your right hand on your block and the left hand to your left hip. On an inhale, send your heart forward, and then exhale, rotate your heart around to the left as you pull your left sit bone in and back. Maybe stay here, the left arm reaches high, as the right shoulder melts away from your ear. We have our revolve pyramid. Keep the back foot grounded. Another full breath in. And as you exhale, release your hands to the blocks or the floor. Take an inhale and then exhale, step right foot to meet left foot. We'll place the toes slightly out, heels in. And we'll slowly start to come down into our squat. And you can take a block underneath your seat if you prefer, or you can stay lifted, or you can take two blocks. But press your elbows into your inner knees and press into your outer edges of your feet. Then lift your heart. Maybe you look down or look forward, but find your breath again, deep and low. Notice what it feels like to Really let the breath be fully through your whole body and through this whole moment here. And take another inhale and a full exhale. Now, if you have some energy, take one more inhale. And then on your exhale, rise all the way up, sweep the arms overhead. If you're at the top of the mat, you will take an inhale to reach high, and then exhale to dive down towards the earth. Inhale to a halfway lift, and then exhale, plant your hands on the mat, step your way back to your tabletop, and then take your child's pose. We'll lower the head towards the earth. We've been here before. Start to notice what it feels like now to be in this shape. We'll slowly make our way out. We'll come into our half pigeon. So if you like to come there from down dog, you can lift your hips back into down dog, or you can stay from your tabletop. We'll just take the right shin forward, and I highly recommend placing a prop underneath your right hip, especially if your hip is lifted up off the ground. Lift your heart, and then exhale, dive down towards the earth as you let yourself surrender. Feeling into the sensations of that right hip, maybe the front of the left hip. Allow yourself to settle here for at least 5 breaths, longer if you like. On an inhale breath, we'll slowly press up from the earth, rising up, and then tuck the back toes under. If you're coming back to your downward facing dog, you can lift your right leg high. You can come into 3-legged dog. And we'll just take the other side. So landing the right foot, lift the left foot up if you're coming from down dog. And then exhale, bringing the left shin forward. Heart lifts to begin. Untuck the back toes. Support your left hip with a prop. And then from here, we'll take a big breath in, fill all the way down into your abdomen. Exhale, fold forward, fold over your left thigh into our half pigeon. Allow yourself to invite whatever comes up here, any differences from side to side, any new sensations. Just allow yourself to find some ease. Let the sensation invite you a little more deeply into this moment. Stay for 3 more rounds of breath. When you're ready, we'll slowly make our way up. If you'd like one more down dog, feel free to do that, or just wrap your legs in front of you. Let the legs get long. Bring your arms out in front of you, or you can roll to your side to bring yourself to your back. Otherwise, slowly with control, drawing the lower belly in. We'll slowly blow out. Make our way all the way to the earth, reaching the arms up overhead, big full body stretch. And then exhale, let the arms rest down along your side. Rest fully and completely into your Shavasana.